Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at paddling.
Paddling.
Yeah, paddling. But not just like how to do it,
Yeah.
like the strokes and stuff. We're going deeper.
Okay. What do you mean deeper?
Well, our sources for this deep dive are all about how it affects you mentally.
Oh, like it makes you happy to be out on the water.
That's part of it. But
Yeah.
the research we're looking at, it goes way beyond just like feeling good.
Interesting.
Yeah, it gets into like actual brain chemistry and stuff.
Yeah.
Like how being on the water changes your hormone levels.
Oh, wow. Like reducing stress.
Exactly. There's this whole thing called the blue mind theory. You've ever heard of that?
I don't think so.
So basically, it says that like being around water, whether you're in it, on it, even just near it, triggers something in our brains.
What do you mean triggers?
Well, it's like it sets off a chain reaction. Your brain starts producing all these chemicals that calm you down,
So it's like a natural chill pill.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Your heart rate slows down. You feel more peaceful, focused. It's like hitting the reset button on your mind.
That makes sense. I've definitely felt that, just being near a lake or the ocean.
Right, and it's not just anecdotal. There's actual scientific evidence to back it up. It all has to do with our parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay.
But beyond the science, one of the things that really struck me in these sources was all the personal stories.
Hmm.
Like people sharing how paddling literally helped them recover from some pretty serious stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, anxiety, burnout, even people dealing with past trauma. They found healing through being out on the water.
That's amazing.
There was this one story about a woman who used stand-up paddleboarding to manage chronic pain.
Hmm.
And she was saying how, like, the focus it takes to balance and stay up, it took her mind off the pain and helped her feel more in control.
Wow. I never would thought of that.
It's really powerful stuff. And the sources even connect this back to mindfulness. Like they're saying paddling can be a form of moving meditation.
Huh. I guess that makes sense. The repetitive motion, being surrounded by nature.
Yeah, it all helps to keep you in the present moment.
Mm.
But I got to ask, for someone like me who, isn't exactly the most mindful person,
Right.
how do you actually do that? Like turn paddling into a mindful experience? Are there any like techniques or something?
Oh, definitely. One of the sources suggested this thing called breath synchronization. So you like match your breath to your paddle strokes.
Okay, how does that work?
So you inhale as you pull the paddle back and then exhale as you push it forward.
Mm.
It not only helps regulate your breathing, but also gives you something to focus on, like it can quiet those racing thoughts.
Oh, I like that.
And they also talked about really paying attention to your senses, like truly feeling the water against the paddle, the sounds of the birds, the smell of the air. It's all about grounding yourself in that moment.
That's a good point. I know I tend to get caught up in just like going through the motions sometimes,
Right.
and I miss all the little details.
Exactly. And that's where the idea of nature's restorative power comes in.
The sources mention that.
Oh, yeah. They dove deep into that. They talk about how, like, beyond the exercise itself, just being in nature has these amazing therapeutic benefits.
I mean, I can totally feel that when I'm out on the water. It's like all the stress just kind of melts away.
Right. There's something about those natural environments, whether it's a lake or a river, even the ocean, it does something to us.
But like, why? What is it about nature specifically that has this effect?
Well, there's a ton of research on this, and it shows that being in nature actually lowers our stress hormones.
Really?
Yep. It also can reduce blood pressure and even boost your immune system.
That's wild. So it's like nature's built-in medicine.
It kind of is. And the sources talk about how this is all tied to our senses. Like the sights and sounds of nature, even the smells, they trigger this relaxation response in our brains.
So it's like a full sensory therapy session.
Exactly. It's all built into the paddling experience.
Pretty cool, right?
And then on top of all that, there's the social aspect.
Oh, yeah. The sources mentioned how paddling can be a great way to connect with people.
It's not just you in the water. It can be about community, too.
Right. I haven't really paddled with a group yet, but the sources talked about how, like, joining a club or going on guided tours can add a whole other dimension.
Definitely. You get to share that connection with nature and
Yeah.
the physical challenge with others.
And I imagine it can be really motivating, too.
Absolutely. And the source also said that for people who are feeling isolated or lonely, being part of a paddling group can give them a sense of belonging and purpose.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like sometimes we just need that connection with other people.
We do.
So paddling isn't just good for your mind and body. It can help you build relationships, too.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It really is. And there's so much more to explore about how paddling can impact our lives.
I know. It's way more than just a hobby.
Definitely.
It's like a whole lifestyle. And it seems like a really healthy one, too.
For sure. Yeah, definitely healthy. And there's so many different ways to paddle, too.
Oh, yeah. The sources were talking about that, right?
Yeah.
It's not just kayaks and canoes anymore.
Right. Like you've got sea kayaking, whitewater rafting, stand-up paddle boarding, even dragon boating.
Dragon boating, wow. I'm pretty much a calm lake kayaker myself.
Yeah, I get that. But the cool thing is there's a type of paddling for pretty much everyone, you know?
And the sources were saying that, like, choosing the right type can actually make a difference in terms of those mental and physical benefits.
Exactly. It depends what you're looking for. Like, say you're feeling adventurous.
Okay.
Well, the sources talk about how sea kayaking can be amazing for that, those longer trips out on the open ocean, you know?
Oh, wow.
Really pushes you to rely on yourself, connect with this vastness of nature.
That does sound pretty adventurous, I have to admit.
Or if you want more of a thrill, there's whitewater rafting.
Oh, yeah, going down those rapids. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to try that.
It's definitely a rush. You've got to be so in tune with the water, make quick decisions, and it's all about teamwork, too.
I bet that's a great way to build confidence.
For sure. Now, if you're looking for something more chill, more about balance and focus, stand-up paddleboarding might be your thing.
I've done that a few times. It's tougher than it looks.
It is. But that challenge of staying upright, it forces you to be really present. Right?
Oh, yeah, you can't let your mind wander too much or you end up in the water.
Exactly. And the sources said that can be really helpful for stress reduction. That focus, it kind of clears your head.
Makes sense. But one thing I was curious about,
Sure.
all this talk about the benefits, it makes me wonder about the social side. Like, what about paddling with a group?
Oh, that's huge. The sources were big on that too. They were saying how, like, sharing the paddling experience with others can actually make those benefits even stronger.
Really?
Yeah, it's like you're not just out there on your own. You've got this whole community of people who get it, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the sources talked about how paddling groups can offer so much. Like there's that sense of camaraderie, of purpose. Plus, you can learn from more experienced paddlers.
Oh, that's a good point.
So you've got this built-in support system as you're exploring the world of paddling. And, you know, for people who maybe feel isolated or lonely,
Hmm.
the sources said that joining a group can be really transformative. Like it gives them a sense of belonging, helps them connect with others.
I can totally see that. Sometimes we forget how important it is to just be around other people.
It's true. So, yeah, the social side of paddling, it's a big deal. It adds this whole other layer to the experience.
But it's like you're getting all these benefits, but then you're multiplying them by sharing it with others.
Exactly. And that brings us to another interesting point.
Okay, what's that?
Well, we've been talking about all these benefits, but the sources also emphasize that paddling itself, it can be a metaphor for life.
A metaphor. How so?
Well, think about it. When you're out there paddling, you need balance. You need to adjust to the currents. You have to navigate obstacles, find your rhythm, and sometimes you have to push really hard to make progress.
Oh, I can see that. It's like the same challenges we face in everyday life.
Exactly. And just like in life, there are times when you can relax, let the water carry you.
And those moments are pretty nice too, I have to say.
The best. So the sources were saying that all the skills and the mindset you develop through paddling,
Yeah.
they can actually help you in other areas of your life too, like building resilience, learning to focus, being adaptable.
Wow. So paddling isn't just about like physical fitness, it's about building life skills too.
It is. And that ties into this idea that paddling can be more than just a hobby. It can be a path to personal growth and transformation.
I'm starting to understand why those sources were so enthusiastic about it. There's just so much to uncover with paddling.
It really is. And one aspect they really highlighted was the power of silence.
Oh, interesting. What do you mean by that?
Well, they talked about seeking out quieter waterways, away from all the noise and distractions. And they said that doing that can actually amplify the therapeutic benefits of being on the water.
Oh, I can totally see that. I mean, there's nothing quite like being surrounded by the sounds of nature, right?
It's the best. Like just the gentle lapping of the water, the birds chirping. It's so soothing.
It is. It's like a balm for your soul.
And there's research to back this up too. Like studies show that being exposed to natural quiet can lower your heart rate and blood pressure.
Wow, really?
Yep. And it can reduce those stress hormones, even improve your sleep.
It's amazing how powerful just being quiet can be.
It is. And the sources made this fascinating connection between natural quiet and the feeling of awe.
Awe. What do they mean by that?
Well, they were saying how being in nature, surrounded by its vastness and beauty, It can evoke this sense of awe and wonder. And
Yeah.
that feeling can shift your perspective, make you feel more connected to something bigger than yourself.
Oh, I've definitely felt that before. Especially when I'm paddling at sunrise or sunset, the sky just explodes with color. It's
Yeah.
like, wow.
Right. It's breathtaking. And the sources said that feeling of awe, it can actually make you feel more grateful, happier, and more connected to something beyond your everyday worries.
So it's like paddling becomes a way to tap into this deeper sense of meaning.
Exactly. It's about finding that sense of wonder and appreciation for the world around us.
And one thing that can really get in the way of that is technology.
Oh, yeah, they talked about that too. They were saying how important it is to disconnect while you're paddling.
I have to admit, I'm guilty of bringing my phone sometimes, like just in case.
We all do it.
Yeah.
But the sources made a good point. They said that all that stimulation from technology, it can actually prevent you from fully immersing yourself in the moment.
Right, you're constantly checking messages, scrolling through social media.
It's hard to shut it off. But they said that when you do disconnect, you create space for deeper reflection, creativity, and connection with yourself.
Huh. I guess that's why I feel so good to just put the phone away sometimes.
It is. It's like giving your brain a break from all the noise.
So the key is to create this tech-free zone while you're paddling.
Exactly. Let your mind wander, observe your surroundings, just be present with the water and the sky.
I like that. I'm going to try to be more intentional about that next time I'm out there.
I think you'll be surprised at how much of a difference it makes.
I bet. And speaking of making a difference, one thing I wanted to touch on is the physical benefits of paddling.
Oh, yeah. It's a great workout.
I always feel so energized after a good paddle. But I was wondering, what specific things does the research say?
Well, first of all, it's fantastic for your cardiovascular health.
Okay.
Gets your heart rate up, improves circulation, good for your overall well-being.
Makes sense. You're using a lot of different muscles, right?
You are. Arms, core, legs. It's a full body workout.
No wonder I'm always sore the next day. But I like that it's low impact.
Oh, yeah. Definitely easier on the joints than some other forms of exercise.
That's important as I get older, that's for sure.
And the sources said that paddling can also improve your strength, balance, and coordination.
Yeah, you really have to focus on those things to stay upright.
It's true. Plus, being outdoors, getting that sunshine, it boosts your vitamin D levels, which is good for your bones and overall mood.
So it's like a win-win situation.
Yeah.
You get a good workout and soak up some vitamin D at the same time. What's not to love?
Exactly. And the sources made this interesting point about how the physical and mental benefits of paddling, they're actually interconnected.
Oh, how so?
Well, when you're physically active, your body releases endorphins, right?
Endorphins, those are the feel-good chemicals.
That's them. So the very act of paddling can make you feel happier and more relaxed.
That makes sense. I always feel so much better after a paddle.
Right. And then on the other hand, the focus and concentration that paddling requires, it can help quiet your mind and reduce stress.
So it's like a double dose of good stuff. You get the physical workout and the mental benefits of mindfulness.
It is. It's a pretty amazing combo. Yeah, it's a win-win for sure. And it
Yeah.
can even get you into that flow state.
Flow state. Oh, yeah, the sources mentioned that. I think I kind of get it, but can you explain it again?
Okay, so flow state is like that feeling of being totally absorbed in something where you completely lose track of time.
Right.
You're so focused, energized, like you're in the zone, as they say.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely had that happen while paddling, especially when the water's calm and you just get into this rhythm.
Exactly. And the sources said that paddling can be a great way to achieve flow state because it requires both physical and mental effort.
Yeah. Your body's working, but your mind's engaged too.
Totally. And get this. The research suggests that flow state can actually have benefits that last even after you're done paddling.
Really? Like what?
Well, they said it can boost creativity, make you a better problem solver, and just increase your overall sense of well-being.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. It's like a mental workout that keeps on giving.
It is. And you know what else can help with that feeling of accomplishment?
What's that?
Setting goals. The sources talked about how having goals for your paddling, whether it's distance, technique, whatever, it can really enhance the whole experience.
Yeah, I could see that. Gives you something to work towards, right?
Exactly. And that sense of achievement, it can build your confidence and make you feel more capable overall.
So it's like paddling becomes this training ground for developing a growth mindset.
It is. And speaking of training, the sources also emphasized how valuable it is to have a mentor in paddling.
Oh, yeah, a mentor. I think that's so important in any field, really.
Totally. And with paddling, learning from someone more experienced, it can help you improve your skills faster and, more safely too.
Right, because there's a lot to learn, like the
Yeah.
proper techniques, how to be safe on the water.
Definitely. And the sources were saying that a good mentor can not only teach you those things, but also offer support and encouragement along the way.
That can make a big difference, especially when you're first starting out or trying something new.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the skills either. The sources talked about how that mentor-mentee relationship can actually create a deeper sense of connection and community.
I love that. It's like paddling becomes this way to build meaningful relationships.
It really can. And speaking of connection, we can't forget about our connection to the environment.
Oh, right. The sources were big on the environmental benefits of paddling.
Yeah, they were saying how it's one of the most eco-friendly ways to enjoy the outdoors.
That makes sense. You're not burning any fossil fuels. You're not leaving a big footprint.
Exactly. And they even went a step further, saying that paddling can actually foster a sense of environmental stewardship.
Oh, interesting. What do you mean by that?
Well, they said that by spending time on the water, really observing nature up close,
Right.
it gives you this deeper appreciation for the natural world, and that can make you want to protect it.
Oh, I totally get that. When you're out there surrounded by all that beauty, it's hard not to feel a sense of responsibility.
Exactly. It's like you start to see how interconnected everything is and how important it is to preserve it.
So paddling becomes more than just a fun activity. It becomes this way to connect with something bigger than yourself.
It does. And that can lead to more environmentally conscious choices in your everyday life, too.
It's like paddling opens your eyes to a whole new way of seeing the world.
It does. And, it's also really accessible.
Oh, that's important. The sources mention that too, right? Paddling is for everyone.
They did. They said it's a great activity for people of all ages, abilities, and fitness levels.
Yeah, there's so many different types of boats and paddling styles.
Exactly. And they even talked about how adaptive paddling programs are making it possible for people with disabilities to enjoy the water, too.
That's fantastic. I love that there are initiatives like that making outdoor activities
Yeah.
more inclusive.
Me too. It's all about sharing that joy of paddling with as many people as possible.
And there's so much joy to be found. We've talked about so many benefits, but I think it all comes down to that, doesn't it?
It does. Like the feeling of freedom you get when you're out on the water,
The peace, the tranquility.
the connection with nature. It's just pure joy.
And I think that's the message I'm taking away from this deep dive, that paddling, it's not just about the physical activity or even the mental benefits. It's about finding joy in the simple act of being on the water.
Beautifully said. And I think that's a perfect way to wrap things up.
It is. So to all our listeners out there, we encourage you, get out there, explore the water, and discover the joy of paddling for yourselves.
Happy paddling!
And until next time, may your waters be calm and your spirits high.